talk, real talk.
Welcome back to Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish
Moorish
Talk.
talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. Hell, I want us to talk about it. At least that we can shout about it. We're building our foundation upon truth. I'm thankful now to think about it. Communicate and speak about it. The gospel of salvation is good news. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk, real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking, Moorish talk, real talk, real talk. We're building when the girls are talking, Moorish talking, real talk,
Moorish Talk. In 2 weeks on Monday at 7 p.m.
We thank you all for being a part of this show and experience with us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Peace.
Islam. First, I give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give honor to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to all the past leaders of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Brother C. Kirkman Bey, Brother F. Nelson Bey, and Brother J. Blakely Bey. Also give honor to our past Grand Sheikh and moderator, Brother R. Love Ill. I give honor to our present Grand Sheikh and moderator, Brother R. Jones Bey, and to his assistant, Brother A. Hopkins Bey. I give honor to all national, state, and local officials. I give honors to all sheikhs, sheikhs, members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. I give honor to the media team, to our viewers, and I give honor to my sisters on the panel. Welcome back to the second episode of Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk, Season 13. Tonight's topic is, the safety of sisters. I'm Sister Ingrid L., Temple 71, Washington, D.C. Peace.
Islam. First I rise giving praises to our Father God Allah and honors to our Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to whom all the sister gave honors to. I give honors where honors are due. I give honors to each and every one of you. I give honors to my sisters here on the panel. My name is Sister T. Britt Bay from Washington, D.C., Temple number 71. Peace.
Islam, I give praise to our great God Allah. I give honor to Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to everything that my sisters said before me. And I also want to give a special honor to Sister Vaughniel for our beautiful intro and musical intro and outro that we have. Praise Allah for this songstress. I give honor to our viewers, to those that are with us, to have this conversation with us. My name is Sister A. Ravin Obey from Temple number 21, Brooklyn, New York. Peace.
Islam. So I thought about this topic, the safety of sisters, because I'm a sister, and the world is awry. We live in a time where it's really unsafe to kind of travel by yourself. And I hate to say this, but if you don't look like me, it's a little bit more dangerous at this time. Like I said, I'm a sister. I have a daughter. I have a granddaughter, and I school her on ways to stay safe. I buy her things to stay safe in her home. I just tell her the ropes of life and how to stay safe and keep her head on a swivel out here. So I was thinking, well, I see how some sisters are out in the world and not really moving safe, right? First of all. So I wonder, Are we teaching our sisters, our loved ones, the women in our family? Do they know how to be safe in the
Mhm.
world? And what does that look like in your life? Peace.
Peace. What precautions do we take for ourselves in the world, at home, wherever you are, our workplace? What precautions do we take for ourselves? And I think about it. I'm a stickler on safety. I laugh at myself sometimes because I've lived alone for quite some time. But I have my daughter and my granddaughter here with me now. But I go through my home like I am
Mhm.
straight up security. Although I know windows haven't been open, I still check the locks to make sure they turn in the lock direction. I did not lift up on it. You know, I try not to get gas at night. I like to fill up during the day and not too early. Because I used to want to go early in the
Mhm.
morning, but I try not to go too early in the morning. I need people to be out moving about. Um,
Yeah.
and so those are some of the safeties. And you know, when my daughter moved back in with me, I remember sharing with her. I was leaving out for work, and I said, "Look, if FedEx, Amazon, any of them knock on the door, don't answer, because all my packages should be packages that could just be dropped off, and I could talk through the doorbell.
There you go.
You
There you
know, I
go.
said, but don't answer it. I know our mail lady. I know her. So I would answer it for her. And then if I'm not expecting company, I don't leave. I try not to even breathe because I wasn't expecting. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just real cautious about things. My observation is on, and working in transportation, safety is number one. So our observation have to be up. I wanted to read something on page 49 from the Holy Quran, chapter 40, the holy instructions from the prophet, the instability of man, instruction 3, and it says, the hero, the most renowned of human character, what is he but the bubble of this weakness? The public is unstable and ungrateful. Why should the man of wisdom endanger himself for fools? People out here, people are desperate. People have lost jobs. People are struggling to survive. Period. Gas stations, I pay close attention. If I see a lot of people lingering outside, stores, same way. If I see a lot of people lingering outside or hanging around the gas pumps and all that, I'm not even going to that gas station. Because I remember the moderator talking about if we see something that could kick off, um, and something does kick off, it's our fault because we saw it. I mean, you know, it don't
Mm,
look right. So why
mhm.
even go? And I had a friend of mine be going to carry out late night all the time in one of the roughest parts of DC. And I'm like, why do you do that
Mhm.
this time of night? But I mean, that's just how they move. But I'm very careful. I try to be very careful, and I do. I try to, educate my daughter and my son. And my son, he works for the post office delivering mail. So it's little conversations I have with him. So, yeah, thank you. Peace.
It's
Mm.
the first thing I like to do is ask Allah to protect me when I leave out of this door, right?
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
my prayer when I
Yes,
get in my car is Allah, please protect me, my car, anyone and anything in my path. Amen. Every time I get in my car, before I leave out, sometimes I gotta check my camera too, just to see what's going on in the hallway before I leave out
yeah,
the door. Because I see what's goes on in here. So, you know, I just gotta protect myself, and I got a camera and alarm and other things for safety, right? Um, you gotta keep your head on the swivel.
got to.
When I'm in my car and somebody may cut me off or whatever the case may be, I don't be all like this. No, none of that. If I feel frustrated, I just work it out into myself. And until I pass that person, I may be fussing and cussing, maybe, but I'm not directing it to them because I don't know. Well, Sister Bray, I don't know if y'all remember, a few years ago, one summer, it was rampant. People were in road rage and getting out their cars and killing each other, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be a part of that,
Yeah.
So I mind my business. Go ahead, Speed Racer. You got it. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
tell you. You got it. I'm not in no rush to not be here. I'm not in a rush
Mhm.
to be gone, So, I just mind my business. If I see Prophet say, if you see trouble, go the other way, right?
That's right.
So,
Yes.
Mhm.
peace.
Thanks. It's yeah, I think similarly to you all, the prayer is the first thing I think of to ask Allah to guide me, because I think that so many times we think we got it. We think we got it, we grown, we can figure this out.
Uh, yeah.
And I feel like sometimes I need some divine whispering when something go down. That little intuition when you walk like, that hallway don't look too good. Maybe you shouldn't walk down that. You need to be connected to the Father God Allah. So I think prayer is important
Definitely.
precaution that you
Absolutely.
got to have. And you got to be aware that he might talk to you. But you gotta be open to when he wants to. So like number one. The other thing that made me think of is I'm really thankful for one of my first jobs early on in my work life was working for a bank. And there are two things that people will go cray cray on: their money and their food. And I always
Mm.
remember that. And everything else is a lot of stuff happening, but in the bank particularly, you represent their money, even if it's a piece of paper to you, or even if you ain't touched it, you don't even know what it is. And so we would go through safety trainings and teach safety trainings around, and that awareness of your environment is so important, because generally the people that get got are not even paying attention that they're about to get got. That's usually what happens. So I try to teach that with my children. It's like, when you walk into a space, I don't care if it's a coffee shop, because we have that here. A lot of people in coffee shops, they go in, they see who's working, they say who's got their money out, they go, they swipe in, they swipe out. They work in twos and threes, you know. Gas station, same thing, right? Because they know you're gonna pull out your card. When you come out the bank, they expect you might have cash on you. So yeah, you shouldn't go to the bank at night. I don't care how much you need it. So a lot of
Right.
those things have been really embedded to me. But I think the most important one has always been just pay attention. Sometimes we're rushing to do whatever we need to do.
Yes.
Pause and just look around. And sometimes something won't make sense. Now you may not know the answer to it, but if something don't feel right, if something don't look right, then you don't need to be there. And maybe that's a
Mm-hmm.
lot trying to nudge you a different way. But I find that
Mm-hmm.
the hardest time is when you're not. You're just doing. You're just so focused on what you're trying to do that you forget what's around you, what's happening, and you don't see, what happens. Because we had people, I remember the day we got robbed in one of the branches one time. It was my wedding weekend. I'll never forget that. And the crazy part is, a few days before, I saw someone come in our office who didn't look right. He didn't come in like he was coming to do something. I'll never forget that. And I just approached him because that's what you don't, if it feels safe. So he didn't look like it was harmful, but he didn't look right. I was like, oh, how can I help you? Because they don't want to be seen. They don't want their face to be known. They don't want to even know that you come for them. And he's like, oh, I'm okay. And he left. Next day, we got a photo, because all the banks talk, that the same person that I saw robbed this other branch down the block. Okay, we knew it. The weekend came, he came back, checked in, nobody was paying attention, and did it again.
Mm.
So, they were like, oh my goodness. And then of course, people like, well, we should have known, but it was busy. It was busy. We weren't paying attention. And so I always have to remind people, you gotta be alert. The Moors will say that. Be alert,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
be alert. More
Yeah.
than anything.
Some people don't like to look scary, right? Looking around and all that kind of whatnot. I'm looking around and looking
Yes.
around and looking around. I'm just saying, I was 20 and 25 and 30 before already and live a
Yes.
life of whatever, not today. And I don't think
Yes.
it's safe for a young person to live like that today either. To be honest, I wish somebody, somebody did. I just didn't listen. Well, praise Allah, I can hear it now, right? And
Yeah.
be safe. Be safe
Yes.
out here. It's just real
Mhm.
Yes.
simple. When I
Mhm.
get out, I don't like to, if I forget something in my car and it's dark outside, I don't like to go out to get it. Even though if I really need it, I don't like to
Mhm.
go get it. If I can't
Mhm.
get my trash out, I do that in the morning anyway. But all the things I need to get before the sun go down, I just won't have it. It's
Yeah.
real simple for me. I don't really like to travel at night by myself. I prefer to be picked up and I prefer to be dropped off. I'm just speaking for Sister Greer Ill. I'm just real honest, right? I just want to be safe out here because I think if we travel together, it's more better anyway. So come
Yes.
get me
Mhm.
so we can be together.
Yes.
Peace.
Mhm.
Praise Allah. I also thought about I don't know if you all saw a movie. It was a movie called Unhinged. And it was about
Yes.
you
Road
saw it?
rage. Yes,
Road
ma'am.
Rage. And let me tell you, it changed my life. Because I had bad road rage. I really did. And but now all that leaning on my horn, all
Mm,
that, I don't do it anymore. And even if somebody's leaning on their horn because they feel that I'm in their way, let me just go on. And I sometimes in my head, I don't act out on it, but sometimes in my
yeah.
head, I really be wanting to be stubborn. Like if I can't see your headlights, I'm about to chill even more now. I need you to back up off me, but I don't even play games with these people. So
Mhm.
if I see that you're up on me and you're staying on me, let me just put my blinker on and let me safely move to the next lane and let you go ahead and go, because nobody knew what kind of day this gentleman had in this movie Unhinged. And it turned out to be a terrible day for a sister in this movie, a terrible day. And all she was trying to do
Mhm.
was get her son to school. So I'm very careful in traffic. Even when I stop, I don't know if y'all remember when I was working till like 4 in the morning. I was coming, when I would be coming from work, it was a street that I had to take, which was a one-way street. And I used to be nervous because it's nowhere to, it's just one way. If I looked in my mirror
Mm-hmm.
and I saw some lights coming and I'm sitting at a red light, and I know I'm supposed to obey the laws of the government, but I would run that light because ain't nobody sitting at this light with me this time of night. It's 4 in the
Mhm.
Yeah,
morning. You ain't about to get me
I
like
hear you.
that. And
I
I
hear
would
you,
run it.
sis.
Mhm.
I really did. I would run it. And now when I have to stop at a light, I leave space. If in case I can,
Mm.
something kick off, I need space to get around. I'm sitting there at that light and I'm planning a way of escape if I have to. Anything may happen. So
I can hear you now. Nope. And pulled off.
I sure
Because
did. As soon
I
as I
felt
saw
that
them
when you
lights,
said
and I'm
that.
looking at how many numbers for the traffic going this way, it's on 23. Oh, I'm about to run this. Ain't
And
no
Mhm.
I
cars out here,
despise
no 4 o'clock in the morning.
I despise roads without street lights. Like, why you don't have no street lights around
I
here?
know. And we don't
Mhm.
have them out here in my neighborhood. We
Yeah,
have
I would
no
have
street
ran the
lights
light
in my
too,
neighborhood.
sis. I don't. Yeah.
Now, I just got to say though, being alert is a 24/7 job. Because
Yeah.
a few months ago here, we had this woman who, and I guess she had a camera in her car, but she was talking. So she's just talking, talking, talking on the phone. She's driving, not paying attention. A car was behind her, following her. The other car went around her and put broad daylight, right? So now she's blocked in between on a one-way road, and she's talking, and you hear her talking to whoever she's supposed to talking. It's like, well, I don't know why they come to me. They went over there to try to jack her. And I was just like, okay, she was not alert. She did not see them people following her for I don't know how long. And they were just, it was on the news and they were explaining, the video went viral. But the point that it always gets me, and I go back to that banking, there's a you don't just because understand the mentality. You may not understand it all the way, but you got to know something. When somebody
Mhm.
wants to get you, look what they told the bank. The reason why there are 5 banks on the corner, why does one bank get picked all the time? Because you got to figure out and assess which one is least likely to notice me. That's really what it is. So if you are busy, which I get on my daughter, don't be walking on the streets on phone. Don't be walking on the streets on phone. You come back
Yeah.
from the
Keep
bus.
your head
Look
up.
around. Keep your head on the swivel, because they know
That's
that
right.
you won't hear the steps coming. You won't hear the
That's
steps
right.
going. So
That's
if
right.
you're busy doing something else, you can't be alert because you're doing something else. We can't. The prophet
Mm-hmm.
say
Mhm.
you can't tend to too many things. You know what I mean?
At once.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
you can't be on the phone over here chit chatting and driving the phone and pay attention to
Mm-hmm.
the people that have been following you for the last mile, because they ain't gonna just they pick you for a reason, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that sometimes people got to just remember, in this world too, we on our phones. I'm admit to it too. Sometimes I'm like, I ain't got a lot of time, but I'll talk on the phone to catch up with somebody. But we got to be careful, because
Absolutely.
we don't have the capacity to hear what else is going around us.
That's
Or
right.
how's Allah going to talk to you to tell you to watch out on that car
That's,
if you talking, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
do it.
you know what?
I get so.
One of
Go
my
ahead,
neighbors,
sis.
just real quick, one of my, and I have said this to him. I come out the door sometimes, and the door slams, but he got headphones on his ear. I said, "You let me walk up on you like this?" He said, I ain't worried. I still. I
Yeah.
walked right up on you, and you're sitting down. I walked right up on you. You. This not. Come on, we gotta do better than that. We
Man.
do. You can't be out in the world with music blasting in your ear. You can't hear what's coming.
And I see
Mm-mm.
it all the time at some of the bike trails in the city in DC. And some of these bike trails, like it's one, Sister Greer, and you might be familiar with this one. It's a bike trail that goes behind District of Columbia Correctional Facility. And it is a deep wooded area. When I say it's deeply wooded, and I be seeing sisters, brothers by themselves, it's like nobody else. And I'm talking about it's deeply wooded and just the trail. I said, there's no way I will jog back here. No
Mm-mm.
way.
They been
Mm-mm.
doing that over
But
in
people
Rock
do
Creek
it. They
Park.
got
They been
the
doing that.
things on their ears. So when I hear, you know, things have happened to people on these trails and they by themselves, and listen, it's of no surprise. Like, I don't even know how y'all still doing
Mm.
It's
Mhm.
almost as if they never heard a story of someone being
it.
attacked on
Exactly.
a trail. We
Exactly.
all have heard a story of it. We live in a city where it happens at. I'm so sure it happens everywhere it's happened. You know?
Mhm.
Mm.
Everywhere.
All right.
Mm.
Has there
Okay.
ever been a time
Go ahead, sis.
okay. Has there ever been a time that you didn't feel safe? If so, could you share?
I mean, I didn't feel safe. It was literally, when you asked that question, I thought about just, what was it, about 2 weeks ago? It was in the daytime, and I was driving, and I noticed it was a car following me. And I was like, and I saw, you know how you're driving, and you know how when you pull up and you're next to somebody and you can feel somebody looking at you, so you look at them. Well, normally if you see someone staring at you, you look at them, they kind of look away. They were looking dead at me, and I was like, okay. So I just looked forward, kept going. Then I realized they got behind me, and I was supposed to go home, but I was like, well, now I can't take you home because we ain't going home right now. I'm
Yeah.
not going home. I'm not taking you to my house and get out my
That's right.
car, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized I was parked. Talk about a banking. I was parked near the bank, but I wasn't going to the bank. I was going to this little market that had fruit. So I went there, but I parked right next to the bank. And then it was like, oh, I was like, they think you came from the bank, right? And I was like, I can't go home. So I immediately just kept driving. I went to this other, like, little shopping plaza, and the same time I called my husband, I was like, okay, babe,
That's right.
so I'm just letting you know where I'm at right now. I'm gonna go to this shopping plaza. I'm just gonna drive through the plaza because it's a lot of people right now. Go to this other one because I don't feel comfortable. There's somebody, and let's see what this person does. And he was like, okay, well, what's the color? What's the car? Right? Like, what's the plan here? Just so that you
Yeah.
know, but we need to call 911. Let's do it. And when I got in there, another car pulled back out right in between us. So, and it was a parking lot. So that was my moment. I was like, okay, now I got to get up out of here because he got to wait for
Mhm.
this person to come out that spot. And praise Allah, I did that, and I
Praise
just
the Lord.
went a little bit to just make sure, and that was it. But I was just like, not today. Not today. But I was thinking about it because there are no mishappenings, and I was like, I need to talk to my daughter because she's learning how to drive. And I was like, I haven't had that conversation with her. Right. And it was like, I need to talk to her about this. Right. And I was getting excited about it because I was like, I didn't even think about making her aware
Aware.
of particularly when you're driving, because she's going to be focused on driving. She's not going to be paying fully around on that next level of alertness. She might be looking for cars, but as a young woman, you need to know that you might be a target. So that was what
Yeah.
I took away from, was like, that lesson needed to be talked about.
Praise Allah. Praise
Mhm.
Allah.
Well, I can recall I was young. I probably was in my early 20s, and I was still living at home with my mom and my dad. And I remember coming home from somewhere, and I was walking. There's a park like literally right across the street from my mom and dad's house, and they could see the park outside their doors or their bedroom windows. And I was coming home, and I was walking through the park because I was gonna cut across the basketball court. Um, and I saw these two gentlemen coming towards me. And during that time, there were a lot of robberies going on in the area where my parents were staying. And I saw these two gentlemen, and it hit me like, I hope, because I ain't had nothing. I felt like I ain't had nothing. I hope they don't do anything, but I was nervous. They spoke and they walked past me. And you know how you got a habit. I know I do. I'm depending on the kind of vibe I get from the person that passes me. I may look back. And when I look back, they was on my heels. And you talking about somebody was scared. That's the first time and the only time I've ever been robbed in that way.
Mm,
And of course they had something in my back. I don't think it might have been a finger. I don't know,
Mhm.
but because I'm already in my head about this situation as it's occurring, they told me if I screamed, they was gonna do this and that to me. And I'm literally looking at my parents' house. It was so close, I felt like I could reach it, but it was nothing I could do. But all they did was they groped me and snatched a chain that I had, and they left. And I always hoped that never ever that stayed with me for a very long time. It was that was scary for me. But when I think about that now, that's why when I look at stuff, what's the here you go right here. It says, wait a minute. I'm gonna find it. Give me a minute. Oh, instruction 13, where it says with the no, that ain't it. The one about the when you see evil, I
oh,
think,
yeah.
or you see
Uh,
danger or suspect the greatest danger.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I'm
yeah.
talking about? Yeah, so
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
basically what I'm trying to say is I should have stayed on the main street instead of going through that park because it was dark. And that's what I'm talking about,
They suspect the least.
using wisdom out here.
Mhm.
Using wisdom. I should have known, like, okay, it's night. It's okay to walk through there during the day, but it's nighttime, and I should have just stayed on the main street. And that's all I wished after that happened. I said I should have stayed going up the hill, but nah, try and take a shortcut.
Yeah.
So convenience don't always, pay off.
I'm so sorry that you had that experience, sister.
Yeah, that
Mm.
was scary, but
Um,
I ain't never been robbed before. I mean, again, after that, but I thought about when, when the prophet says man must pass through all the ways of life. I said, well, I got through that part.
man, oh
Mhm.
man. That's a
I don't
scary
like
way.
it. I didn't like it. It was scary though. It was.
Um, I got off the bus one night. I was taking a bus at the time, and I lived on the avenue with the do the most no good in the hood. And I was getting off of work. I got off the bus and was walking down the street, and I was walking towards the brother, and he turned around and started walking the other way. And I was like, mm-mm. And I said, shoot, real loud. I said, I can't believe I left my bag and walked right back to the bus stop across the street because I got off at that bus stop. So to go back the other way, I had to go to the bus stop across the street. I waited for the bus and got back on the bus and rode down a few more blocks, got off, crossed the street, and waited for the next bus. I figured by the time I get back down there, he'll be gone. So that's just one of my experience of me doing something different when I felt I might have been in danger had I not got back on the bus. I was tired, but I probably saved my life.
Yeah.
Praise
Yes.
Allah. Praise Allah. The thought came to you what to do, sis. You
Yeah.
know, that made me think about.
I was angry though. I was in my feelings about that though. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
lie.
I'm sure you.
'Cause
I'm
I was
sure you
so
were.
tired.
It made me think about a show I used to watch a long time ago, and it was like a talk show, and I always remember the safety guy was talking about, um, you know, men and women are different in that women try to be nice, even if they feel like something's off. But he was saying that generally women will pick up if something doesn't feel right, but their
Mm-hmm.
brain will say, I need to be nice in the situation, or they'll try to, but maybe not. And he was saying that it's better to be safe than sorry. And when he would look at these, like he was, help people personal safety and security, he was like, he's like, I always felt like the women kind of had an inkling sometimes that something might have be a little off, or they doubted themselves a little bit, and they need to trust themselves more. And that always stuck with me because I saw that sometimes even with people, or maybe they're not trying to hurt you to really get you, but sometimes you have some people call it intuition, women's intuition. I think that it's Allah speaking to us,
Yeah.
that sometimes there might be like feeling.
Your senses speak to you.
But you can't explain it. So you try to logically explain why that thing was wrong. But his point was actually go with what you are. And then the other thing he always said was, if something happened, do whatever you need to do so you don't get taken to the next spot. Right? Like you don't want to get to the next spot, because the next spot, wherever you may go or they try to take you, is way harder to get out than that first one. Kick, yell, scream, do whatever you need to do, run, but get out that first situation. And I always remember comply. Whatever you need to do, you think to get out that first. I always took that with me.
But we're fixers. We always trying to fix something. Women, make it right. No, really, y'all know it.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's what we do. And even when it starts feeling wrong, we be trying to think. Let's think of another way to do this, to handle this. No, sis, run.
Yes.
Listen. In my old age now, and I'm not old, I'm 49, almost 50. I'm so excited about getting ready to turn 50. I don't even understand why, but I am. I guess I'm just really grateful. But anyway, as seasoned as I am, it's when it don't feel right. No, I don't have to. I can't afford to second guess it. Even though my heart may want to, if I've already said I ain't gonna second guess that. I'm gonna roll with that one. That's one I gotta roll with.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's that experience.
My heart and my head, they be at each other sometimes in all kind of situations.
Yes.
Not just matters of the heart, in personal relationships with strangers as well, right? Your heart and your mind will be fighting against each other, but still, you got to go with that first thought. If it's yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, well, that feels like we should ask Sister Hopkins, but he's not with us, so we sent our Islam. But one of her questions said, "What advice do you give to sisters on how to protect themselves in this present day?" But it said a world of enlightenment that you would tell your younger self, as an example. And you just talked about age. What would you tell your younger self?
Be quiet, stay out of trouble, go the other way. You don't have to respond all the time. You want to get home safe. And they used to tell us back in the day, you can live to fight another day. Well, how about just live to live another day? Because sometimes to today fights can turn fatal. Fights can turn fatal. And I don't want to do none of that. Like, I don't want to do none of that. So I would tell my younger self, be quiet. You don't have to respond all the time. Your goal is to get home safe. And that's it. And if you're not safe at home, then you probably should go somewhere else. Because sometimes we're not safe at home either.
That's absolutely true. I guess I would say keep your head on a swivel and just always be aware. Awareness is very important. Always be aware of your surroundings. You know? Yeah, be aware of your surroundings. Be able to give some kind of description of something. My job trained us to, like they would ask us when we would be in that driver's seat, the last car that passed you, tell me something about that car. That's to see where our awareness was. Yeah, and how much we're paying attention to our surroundings. And they always tell us that y'all should be rocking in that seat. You know what I'm saying? So I always think of that whenever I walk past somebody, drive past, you know, what can I remember about what just passed me or who just passed me? In case I ever have to give any kind of detailed information or something, you know? So yeah, that's what I would say. Keep your head on the swivel and just be aware of your surroundings. Don't get too comfortable nowhere. You know what I'm saying? We get too relaxed sometimes. I used to go in the hood and be super relaxed. Paying attention to nothing. Before I know it, you got people running. I used to be at functions and just mind somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And next thing I know, it's a group of people running. I don't even know what's going on. Like, no. And instead of when I see a brawl, instead of going to the brawl, and this is what I would tell my younger self or my younger children. When y'all see a brawl, don't go trying to see what's going on. Go the opposite direction. Because I see a lot of that, especially with the younger generation. Let it be a brawl. They here with the phones. They recording. That's too much. That's too much. Just go the other way. That's danger.
I would also tell my younger self to speak up. You know, sometimes we allow things to take place in our life and we don't speak up about it. You know, I remember doing I'm going to just share this. I remember doing a 4-step. And the 4-step is we made amends to ourselves, to God, and to others who have harmed us. Right. That might be the 5th step. I'm sorry. And one of the questions was, you know, what could you have do to not have had this thing happen to you, right? And I was resenting the question. So I thought about it for a good while. And I guess the thing with Ben is that I would have told somebody, and with the hopes of maybe it not taking place again. So if I had a fault, I think that's why I didn't. This was something told to me. What I played was I didn't tell him.
Okay, wait, sis, we can't hear you. Can you speak again, sis? Keep talking.
Her reception is bad.
You're sounding a little bit like a robot, sis.
She might have to go.
How about now?
Yeah, sis, you want to go back out and come back in?
Went out. She went out.
Let's see, wait. Here she.
What about now?
Yes.
No?
We hear. Yes. We
hear talking.
She froze again.
I'll leave and come back.
Okay, come on back. Yeah, I know she was in the midst of talking about her younger self, and I want to hear what she has to say. Because the one thing I was going to say is, you know, back in the day when I was growing up, we would look at the news, you know, and you would hear all the stories, and, you know, you might hear it on TV, whatever. And to me, I felt like I don't need to experience it to know that it happened. So I would say to my younger self, things are happening to people, it's not, you don't need to fear it, but you need to be aware that it's happening. And now that you got social media, you got access to hear all the bad things that people be doing more than we normally did. So take heed to what happened in the situation, because it's easy to look at somebody else's video and say, well, I could tell why this happened to them. But the real question for me is not to really about judging them. It's about, this situation could happen. And what are you doing to make sure that you can learn from it? Because again, when you went through your experiences to birthday, you had to go through. Now you can talk about that experience to help guide others so that hopefully they don't have to, right? And that's all. I think all of our experiences are there to make sure we don't have to. So I would say to my younger self, pay attention to what you see around you and recognize what got there and what can you do to protect yourself so that you don't become in that situation or in that seat.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, did our sister finish?
No, Sister Greer, say something. You're blurry, but go ahead and say something.
Because we wanted to hear what you were saying.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying, I was doing a question that asked me what part did I play in the harm that was caused to me, right? And I was saying, I resented the actual question in a workbook. And I resented the question because this was totally done to me. But when I thought about it, and the part that I picked was I didn't tell anybody that it was happening. Because I didn't tell, it kept happening, right? So that experience, even though it was an unfortunate one, when I became an adult in the workforce and you have male supervisors who will try their hand, had I not said nothing, he would have repeated doing the same thing he was doing. But because I said, they handled it, right? And a lot of times we women are in these situations that we feel stuck, can't do anything about it. We don't want to mess up our livelihood, nobody, so on and so forth. I like to sleep at night, right? So I'm not going to allow anybody to misuse or abuse their authority over me. That's another thing I do to keep safe. I don't allow anybody to approach me in a disgusting manner and not say nothing about it. I'm going to say something about it. And we all should do that. We all should speak up for ourselves when we are approached in that manner. Peace.
Peace. Yeah, that made me think about my next question, which was, have you ever felt that you were not psychologically safe? Because we're talking a lot about physical, but that psychological safety, Sister Grill just touched on it. She didn't feel safe to speak up because of some reasons, but there's a psychological safety that happens. So have you ever felt that?
Yeah. Years. And even the thing was happening mentally until I was able to start getting some of that.
We can't hear you.
You keep freezing.
You freezing. We can't hear all. It was like every other word. Try going out and come back in because it's your connection. But now she's frozen. Okay. Let's see if she'll go in and come back out. Sister Britt, you want to answer that? Have you ever felt like you weren't psychologically safe?
I'm sure I have. I just can't think of a time. Like I was gonna wait to hear some of your responses to help me with that. I'm sure I have. Psychologically.
Well, I could jump in and talk about, when I was actually talking about this week with someone about not feeling psychologically safe, women in the workplace, because similar to what the sister was just talking about, either they feel like they gotta deal with a situation, men or women, because of people's roles, their hierarchy, And so they don't feel like they can be honest, or they feel like they have to endure mistreatment, which is
Mm.
absolutely unnecessary. You should never feel like you can have to deal with mistreatment in order to, perform your work or wherever you are. But there feels, in the conversation I was having this week, a lot of people are feeling that way right now. A lot of people trying to hold on to their jobs. And so people are feeling like I have to deal with whatever comes to me, whatever the abuse that might be, because I'm trying to hold on to this job, or I'm trying to hold on to the situation, this housing situation I'm in, or I'm trying to hold on to whatever I have because of this, the way the world is right now. So people are feeling
Mhm.
unsafe, work,
Yeah.
home, um, and so, I mean, so that was like part of the question. And yeah, there were times where I felt like, okay, I need this good job. So, what do I need to do in order to be able to keep it? What do I need to do? And I was put in a situation with a boss who at the time um wanted me to do something that was unethical. They wanted me to let go of somebody that they didn't like. They didn't have a reason, but they were like, just get rid of this person. And I took offense to that. I was like, but they didn't do nothing wrong. Okay, so you don't like them for whatever reason, but that ain't a reason to let go of somebody. Like, can they do they look quirky? Okay, I get it. You probably got plans for something else, but you just can't let go of people just because you don't like them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but then I felt threatened, because then now if I don't do what you say to do, then I'm the one that's got to go.
Right.
So I made the difficult decision to quit. And it was that in many reasons. And I was just like, this is not right. It is just not right. And it's a hard decision to make when you have to be in those situations. But it keeps coming up when people are just not thinking about the other people that they impact, the people that they work with, the people that they live in with. People should feel safe with other people. So
I had a situation on my job, and I hope it fits what we're talking about. There's a young man, he's an operator at my job, and the responsibility that I have if I'm sitting in chair one is I'm to ask each driver for their credentials before even giving them their work. If they don't have their credentials, they can't get their work. Now, this is how it's supposed to go. I've never worked at a transportation company that it went any other way. So at this particular, there's a young man that I know from one of the other previous companies I used to work for. And he's a pretty cool young man. He's about my son age. And when I asked him for his credentials, he just gave me this crazy look. But it's busy at the time. I see the look, and then I'm still shuffling, trying to get the papers, stamp his, get it ready. So I looked at him. I said, let me have your driver's license and your DOT. And he like, man, Brett Bay. So my boss is standing there, but she's not hearing the conversation. But I felt some kind of way. So I stepped away, and I saw her stamp his paper and give him his work, right? So the next day I came, I see his paperwork, and he says, no, when he came in that night, he said to me, Britt, take my number. I know, because I said, what's going on with your credentials? He said, man, it's a long story. He said, call me, I'll tell you about it, right? I don't really need to know the story. I just need to know that you don't have it. So
mm,
now I'm off I don't want to be the cause of him losing his job, but at the same time, I don't want to lose my job, because if this young man
That's
goes out
right.
here, have an accident, I already know
uh-uh.
from up top, first thing they're going, when the police ask for his credentials and he doesn't have them, the first person they're coming to is me. How did he even get his work?
Oh,
So psychologically, it was playing on my mental overnight. And I just had to go what I felt was the better. And I went to my boss. And I couldn't be in fear of him losing his job, Listen, I don't want to lose mine. So
Yeah.
I had to go to my boss and I had to explain to her. I said, look, I'm not trying to get anybody fired. I said, but at the same time, I got a responsibility in Chedwan. I got a responsibility to this job. You know, I said, but I had to give her the person's name. And she was like, well, where's credentials at? I said, I don't even know. I never called to get the story. But I do know. I said, and I thought that, you know, because we have a safety department. And that's their job. Their job is to keep up with whether or not our stuff is expired and all of that. So I don't even know how he's working. I don't know any of that. And I felt a relief once I told my boss. And then, but the gentleman still don't have these credentials. So when I see him, if I'm in that chair, I get up and walk away. Because I've already made it known to my boss. But the fact that I don't like the fact that you put me in that position, and I don't know. I don't know. Does that fit?
Yeah, of course, sis.
Yeah.
Because you got to feel safe wherever you at.
Put me
It's
in a
safety.
bind.
You gotta protect your livelihood. That's being safe.
Absolutely.
Protecting yourself. Safety. However you see it, you protecting yourself. You put protection on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So we can't always expect people that we consider to be friends or you know, cool associates to have our best interests at heart. You can't expect that.
Absolutely.
And that instruction was though his ways are even, yet they are not all painful. Accommodate thyself to all, and where there is the least appearance of evil, suspect the greatest danger. So I could pull up to that gas station and just see some young men standing outside. It might not look like it, but I don't know though. So I ain't gonna take that chance. We're gonna go to another gas station.
That's right.
Shoot.
Well, sisters, do we have any final thoughts before we close out our show? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Stay safe, sisters. Please.
Yeah.
And
keep your head on the level.
That's right. Stay alert.
Yeah, stay alert.
Well, we want to thank our viewers and our guests for joining us today and our topic of safety and sisters. As a reminder, of course, on Friday is our Holy Day meeting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Sunday at 2 p.m. is our Sunday school Eastern Time that you can go. And again, we want to thank everyone for being here with us. As you can see, our theme song was by our dear sister B. Vaughn Neal, which you're going to hear on the outro, and our visuals by Brother T. Hopkins Bay II, who helped put that together. We want to wish you all to come back and see us in 2 weeks for another Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. Peace.
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 Girl talk. Real talk.
Welcome back to Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk.
We're building when the girls are talking Moorish talk and real talk. Real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking Moorish talk. Real talk. Real talk. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish talk and real talk. Real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking Moorish talk. Real talk. Real talk. Hell, I want us to talk about it. At least that we can shout about it. We're building our foundation upon truth. I'm thankful now to think about it. Communicate and speak about it. The gospel of salvation is good news. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish talking real talk. Real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking Moorish talk. Real talk. Real talk. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish talking real talk. Real talk. We're building when our Moors are talking Moorish talk. Real talk. Real talk. We're building when the girls are talking Moorish talking
Real Talk, Moorish Talk in 2 weeks on Monday at 7 p.m.
We thank you all for being a part of this show and experience with us, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.